Move on to 6B, the Hispanic Survey results. Presentation.
Good evening, City Council members and Mayor. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Lucy Richardson, and I am the Executive Director of the Hispanic Outreach Program in Woodview County. And tonight, I would like to present the results of a Hispanic assessment survey that it was conducted this past summer. Hispanic Outreach collaborated with Live Healthy Red Wing. We've been doing this collaboration since 2016, and we wanted to learn more about the Hispanic community, so in different areas. So what we did, we put together an advisory committee representing different entities from Red Wing, such as law enforcement, school, nonprofits, health, and such on. So we came together to discuss, okay, what do we want to learn from the Hispanic community? And then everybody submitted their questions, and we contracted services with a SER, a nonprofit in Minneapolis, who helped us a lot. So we decided to, the survey was composed of 45 questions. And based on the American Survey's estimates that we have 739 persons of Latino origin living here in Red Wing. And this survey was conducted to 108 people in Red Wing. So that means that the results of this survey represents 15% of the total estimated population that we have here in Red Wing of Latinos. And to be more specific, this is a statistics about the demographics. As you can see, Red Wing represents 5.1% of the Hispanic Latino community that we have, about 739, along with some of the statistics of Minnesota and Woodview County. I'm gonna try to go a little quick because I know I don't have a lot of time, so. Some of these respondents, the question was, where are you from? And the majority, 67%, that answered this question, they were from Mexico. And the other breakdown was between Central, South America, and even the Caribbean of Cuba, 6%. Home language, English fluency. Do you speak English? So 69% they said yes, 31 say no. But out of that 69%, they're not completely fluent, so somehow of English, as you can see in the graph there. Education level, this is kind of like interesting because sometimes we assume, we have people, especially immigrants coming from other countries, and sometimes people could assume, well, they don't have a high level of education, but we have a mix, Total of actually was surprising for us to find out of these 108 people, 50% of them actually finished high school and some kind of college, but 32% is college level and even master's and PhD degrees. So that is good to know. Household composition by income. One highlight that I want to make here is that number of individuals in the household that makes less than $15,000 annually and have more than 3 to 4 children. So it is a very low level. Again, poverty, it is, also is part of the Hispanic Latino community that they live here in Red Wing. And you're right, you will see the number of kids in the household. So it varies from 1 to 6. Time living in the United States, this is by numbers, not percentages. It was a little hard to find out because one question was included exactly how many years you've been living in Red Wing. And it's difficult because, as you can imagine, 45 questions, and it took us 2 to 3 months to get this project done. A lot of people oftentimes did not answer all the questions. So more than 10 years is about 68 of them in the United States, but residing in Minnesota, 60 of them. So we do have some people that have been here for a long time. And then, excuse me, we get into a little more specific questions, such as the welcomeness perception. How do you feel in Red Wing? How do you feel welcome in Red Wing? This is good to know. 91% feel well received. And the 9%, this is some of the areas, you know, that they've been experiencing why they don't feel well received. Some recommendations. Again, the person who helped us to put this together, he did it. So they did the way they analyze the results. So they also did some recommendations, so which is really helpful for us. So place to share information about local Latino community, information available in Spanish and bilingual staff. This is something that I want that you pay attention, because you are going to see this in a lot of the slices. So a lot of those areas we found out that is very common to see those results. And the bottom is always kind of important to know, because some part of the recommendation says responsibility of government, governor and mayor plus community members. So saying like, you know, we want to be part of the community, so we want to the governor, the mayor to also be involved and, you know, excuse me, in our challenge and concerns. Safety perceptions. This question was mainly targeted because of the changes of the new administration, of what we've seen in immigration, not just state but national-wise. So 50% of them felt no change, but 80% felt some changes due to new administration, changes in laws, felt unsafe in public spaces, afraid of deportations, and so on. Some recommendations, as you may hear about this before, is state-wise driver licenses. That is a big issue, excuse me, that we hear a lot in our community. Again, information in Spanish, more involvement from the Latino community, government support legal process and legalization, more on the federal level. And the one that says what cannot be done, I think that is also important, because they are willing to learn how they can be better integrated in a community where they're coming from, you know, different language, different culture. So what are those things that they can do without getting in trouble, or without, you know, to learn more simple things such as, you know, when they're driving and the ambulance goes by and the lights are on, well, you have to pull over. But we don't have these kind of things, regulations or safety, you know, back in some countries. So things like that, simple as that, that they want to learn more. Communication perceptions. Where is the best way for this community to be informed about news, about activities, events? Well, the majority, which is 30% of them, social media. Right at this time, I guess, everybody has a Facebook, you know, and that's a best way for them to communicate, along with other low percentages of different things. Have you heard about services for Hispanics? 98% say yes. And a lot of these, I guess, is based on our services from Hispanic outreach. This is also important here on the bottom. It says recommendations. Welcome Center, because in that survey it was a question, if you wouldn't know about a Welcome Center, where did you attend, or where did you go for information? And 77% of them say yes. Transportation perceptions. 88% of them own their own cars. Some recommendations, again, information in Spanish, bilingual staff, more buses and routes. So that is also, as we know, transportation is an issue here in Red Wing too. along with housing. There were some questions about housing. The majority of them, 96%, feel safe in their neighborhood, which is a good thing. The very small percentage, they feel unsafe because of drugs and vandalism. The majority also feel safe at home, and the ones that are not, well, there are a small percentage of drug consumption and fear immigration officers. Housing issues, when they rent an apartment, they struggle sometimes because they request Social Security number, they need to check their credit, and their immigration status also could be a problem to be able to rent some apartments, as well as small sizes and high prices on housing and the language barriers. Education perception, 54 out of 55, they have children in school, and they do have, I guess, good things that the school is doing, sharing news and communicate with them in Spanish, and also sometimes they use interpreter. But also under that area of education, it was another question where it was more open. What are those areas that the school could improve? And you can see they are quite a bit there, which is important to know. Spanish services perception. They do, because of the language barrier, so they do request to have interpreters, and they are suggesting some kind of more training for interpreters, to provide more interpreters or more staff and bilingual staff in places where they use it the most, which, as you can see, their hospitals and clinics when they go to doctor's appointment. We do have issue on interpreters. We don't have a lot of interpreters here. So, and work environment perception. 88% of them, they are currently employed. Do you think your native language is a barrier for your advancements? 77% say no. And some of the issues that you can see on the right here, not having driver license, work permits, language barrier again, so you can see that. But right here is kind of interesting because the first question was, do you feel supported at work? And it was almost 80% of them just said yes. But when it got to the point where there were other questions, do you feel safe, or advance professionally, have equal opportunities, support services such as ELL, then the percentage of yes, it was decreasing. So there's some work to do on the work environment, definitely. Health and law enforcement perception. Of course, as you may know, if these people they are undocumented, they're not allowed to get medical insurance, and again, because high prices or being not have the right status in this country. So law enforcement issues. There is still, things to do with communication with the police department, although this been improving, because we did just finish a project with law enforcement to improve better communication, and that went very well. But again, as you can see right here, more information in Spanish, bilingual staff. So those are the recommendations that we see a lot in all these areas. I went quick. I'm proud of myself. Any questions? I just wanted to say that there's a lot of information here. In our plans with Live Healthy Red Wing and with this advisory committee is to continue working what we're going to do now with all this data. So we are trying to come up with some areas, especially communication. What can we do to improve communication? Maybe it could be some kind of under the education area, work more closely with the school, the work environment, what can we do? So We're going to keep working. We have the deadline until June 30th to continue some type of work, but still there's a lot of opportunities to keep working and to improve the experience and to be help the community, Hispanic community, to integrate into Red Wing. Any questions?
Questions? John?
Lucy, so I'm looking at the country of origin, and I notice Guatemala is the second largest country of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because of violence in Guatemala, or is there a reason why? It seems like a very small country to be.
You know what? This wasn't surprising to me. Without having these actual statistics, I kind of knew that Mexico was on top, and then either between Guatemala and Salvador, second, and that's what is showing the results. Yes, that could be some of the reasons, because of the violence that is been going on in that country. That's why it's a little high. One thing I also know that Lake City, they do have a big number of people from Guatemala as well.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Oh yeah, you did. It makes me wonder though that each country probably has dominant reasons why people immigrate to Minnesota.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I can tell you overall, it is the violence, is corruption. You know, a lot of corruption, and yeah, violence. I think is the top one. These people are escaping their own countries.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.